Modern manufacturing runs on this absolute flood of data. I mean, every single machine, every sensor, every link in the supply chain, they're all just pumping out information constantly. But here's the thing. Beneath that digital surface, there's this massive hidden problem. It's a bottleneck that's basically holding the entire factory of the future hostage.
And it all starts right here, with this number, 68%. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the staggering amount of enterprise data that goes completely 100% unanalyzed. It gets collected, it gets stored, and then it just sits there, never used. It's like owning a library where 2/3 of the books never even get opened. And here we get to the real root of the problem. A crazy 82% of companies say that data silos are actively disrupting their workflows. These silos are the real villain in our story today. All that valuable data gets trapped, it gets isolated, and it ends up creating these huge blind spots across the entire operation. Which leads us to this central paradox. Factories are absolutely drowning in data, but they're starving for actual insights. They have all the puzzle pieces, right? But they're scattered across a dozen different boxes so they can never ever see the full picture.
Okay, imagine this. You've got a team of the most brilliant experts in the world, but one only speaks German, another only speaks Mandarin, and a third only speaks Python code. They might have the solutions to all your biggest problems, but if they can't communicate with each other, well, their expertise is pretty much useless. That is exactly what's happening inside factories. The ERP system, the IoT sensors, the supply chain platform, they're all speaking different languages.
So how do we fix this? How do we break down these walls? Well, the answer is something called big data integration. You can think of it as the master key that unlocks all that trapped potential. It's the universal translator that finally gets all of your systems speaking the same language. So what exactly is big data integration? Well, at its core, it's the process of taking all that disconnected data from your sensors, your ERP systems, your cloud apps, you name it, and weaving it all together into a single unified view. Now, here's the most important part. It's not just about moving data from point A to point B, it's about transforming it into a consistent format that's actually ready for some serious analysis.
And this comparison here really shows you how big of a shift this is. I mean, it's night and day. Traditional integration was fine for yesterday's world. It was slow, it worked in batches, and it was really just built for looking at static reports of what happened last month. But today's smart factories, they demand so much more. They need real-time streaming of all data types with almost zero delay to power the kind of predictive insights that let you make decisions right here, right now.
All right, so how does this integration actually happen? Let's pop the hood and look inside the toolkit. We're going to skip the super deep technical jargon and just focus on the 3 core methods that really make it all work.
First up, you've got ETL and its modern cousin, ELT. It stands for extract, transform, and load. This is the real workhorse for pulling together huge batches of historical data for deep trend analysis. Next, we have streaming. This is the real-time lifeline for the factory floor. Think of it as a constant river of data flowing from your machine sensors, powering live monitoring and triggering immediate alerts. And finally, we have APIs, the universal translators. These are like flexible, digital bridges that let any 2 systems, say your inventory platform and your sales tool, talk directly to each other.
Okay, so we know the what and the how. But who cares, right? What's the real payoff here? What actually happens when this theory hits the factory floor? This, my friends, is where it gets really exciting.
So let's just ask the question straight up. What does all this actually change on the factory floor? Because this isn't just about having cleaner data in a spreadsheet. It's about a fundamental, ground-up shift in how the entire operation runs. The transformation is just profound. You shift from being reactive, constantly putting out fires, to being proactive. So instead of fixing a machine after it breaks down, you predict the failure before it even happens. Instead of scrambling when you run out of a material, you anticipate the shortage weeks in advance. A product defect? It can be traced to its exact source in minutes, not days. Ultimately, you just eliminate those dangerous operational blind spots and create one single, reliable source of truth for the entire business. And look, this isn't just some nice theory. The impact is real and it's measurable. A study by Deloitte found that connecting these data systems can boost operational efficiency by 10 to 20%. That's not a small tweak, that is a massive leap in productivity, all driven by making your data finally work for you instead of against you.
Of course, getting there isn't always a simple, straight line. So, it's important to be realistic here and acknowledge the real-world hurdles you'll face before we look at that ultimate vision.
The journey definitely has its challenges. I mean, a lot of factories are still running on these ancient legacy systems that were just never built to connect to anything. Data quality can be a huge issue. You know the saying, garbage in, garbage out. And as you grow, you need systems that can actually scale with you, all while keeping that data super secure and compliant. These are real obstacles, for sure, but they are solvable.
And solving them is absolutely critical, because this right here, this is the most important takeaway of all. Big data integration is not just another IT upgrade. It is the fundamental bedrock for the future. It's the foundation you absolutely have to build if you want to support things like AI, machine learning, and the entire promise of Industry 4.0.
So, we'll leave you with this final thought. We've all heard that phrase a million times. Data is the new oil. It's incredibly valuable, sure, but only if you can actually get it out of the ground and refine it. Integration is the drill, the pipeline, and the refinery, all rolled into one. So the real question is your factory still just sitting on top of its reserves, waiting to drill?